Welcome back. I'm Ed Kyle, the Plastics Recruiter, and this is our fourth and final video in our talent acquisition series. In this video, I'm going to discuss the offer making process, proactively discussing counteroffers, and onboarding your new hire. You're at the point in the process that you've chosen the person you'd like to hire, and you're communicating with us that you'd like to make them an offer. So how do we go about doing that? This is a critical time. You have to move quickly without any missteps. Have you ever seen the people race with eggs on spoons? People have to move quickly, but if they go too fast, they drop the egg and they have to start over from scratch. Getting your person in is a lot like having a multi-million-dollar egg on a spoon. If you move too slow, you lose. Somebody else will get that egg. If you move too fast, you lose. If you give it to someone else to take it, there's a good chance it will bust. You have to be quick, methodical, and not make any mistakes. So with that in mind, the first step is deciding what to offer. We will be sure that you know what the candidate is expecting, and we stay very close to the candidate throughout the process to stay abreast of their thoughts on salary. It's really common for people to start finding reasons to request a higher salary just before the offer. Things like the commute is further, I need more money, benefits cost more, I need more money, I don't get as much vacation, this job has a bigger scope than originally discussed. Seems like there's always a last-minute rush of reasons why the offer has to be higher than they originally agreed to. Our process helps to minimize that in several ways. We will help you determine a verbal offer. The verbal offer should be in line with what the candidate is asking for and a little bit lower than the absolute maximum you will consider paying them. I am a firm believer in offering a little less than your maximum because it's human nature to want just a little more, and it's innate in our culture to assume there's always more room. Just about everyone is disappointed if they can't get a little more than what was offered. So once we determine the number, we will approach the candidate with a verbal offer. There's no use in going through the exercise of putting an offer in writing unless all of the questions and objections have been covered and the offer has been accepted verbally. We approach the candidate and explain that they're a finalist and that the client wants to be sure before they get to the offer stage that nothing has changed. Will you still consider that offer at the number we've been discussing? If they say no, we try to temper their expectations and try to garner an understanding of exactly what it is going to take. Regardless, we will tell the client where the candidate's head is at relative to money. We then call the candidate and say, okay, here's where we're at relative to an offer. I've talked with the client, and if you're committed to them, won't consider a counteroffer, I think I can get this done at whatever that number is. Can I have your authority to accept this offer on your behalf? We will explain that there's a thorough approval process, and we want to make sure that this is doable for the candidate and that they are committed at this point. This question usually surfaces all of the depends questions. Depends on vacation, depends on benefits costs, depends on relocation assistance, depends on the bonus program. So once you have all of the answers to that, you say, okay, if we get you that money, 3 weeks of vacation, the bonus is 10%, you see the benefits, you know what our relocation allowance is, can I have the authority to accept this offer on your behalf? And will you sign and return it the same day I present it? If so, we'll work to get it put in writing for you just as soon as possible. At this point, they usually say yes, or more typically, they counter a bit higher. We then ask, are you ready to walk into your boss's office and firmly give notice? Are your wife, kids, or any other important people 100% on board? This is particularly important on a relocation. Once it's agreed to, we will submit it in writing with the expiration date on the offer at the end of this day. If we've all done our job, they should be ready to accept when it's given to them. After all, they've already accepted verbally. If they've already accepted the offer, why would they need more than 10 minutes to sign and return it? If they need extra time, it's usually a sign that they're using the offer to leverage a different company's offer or bucking for a counteroffer with their current employer. We will be covering counteroffers with them several times throughout the process. We will coach them on how to avoid them and what to say if it's brought up. All right, so now your new employee has accepted the offer. You're not out of the woods yet. The period between the moment your new employee signs the offer and starts work is what I call the pre-boarding period. Deals can and do fall apart during the pre-boarding period, believe me. People succumb to counteroffers. They get offers from other companies that they'd already interviewed with. They get cold feet about the move. Lots of things can happen, particularly if they aren't getting much attention from their new employer. You need to engage with them from the day they sign the offer. Invite them to a party and they are the guest of honor. Have them pick out their computer and phone. Send them projects to begin reviewing. Make them feel like part of the family even before they start. Make sure people are calling them a couple times a week. Make sure they have the relocation benefits and information. Be sure that they get pre-employment screenings done right away. I'm not going to go into too much detail on this here, but I have a full pre-boarding and onboarding training that I offer to my clients. To round out this process, I'd like to speak about retention. While ultimately we have very little to do with retention, we will check in with the hiring manager and with the candidates for up to 6 months to be sure of a smooth transition. If any problems surface with either the company or the candidate, we will work with both sides to see if there's a way to salvage the situation. So that concludes the fourth and final phase of the recruiting process. This process has worked thousands of times with hundreds of plastics industry's best clients. On behalf of the entire team here at Plastic Executive Recruiters, I look forward to working with you.